I'm very happy to be here in the beautiful home of Professor Russell Meares. We're overlooking Sydney Harbour. Thank you and welcome for allowing us to come to your home.
Not at all.
And talk to you. Your life has been dedicated to this amazing work. How did it evolve for you to move into this field?
I was very interested, very intrigued by a kind of literature of personal life, of Virginia Woolf, Samuel Beckett, those sorts of people. Samuel Beckett's been a particular interest because he shows forms of trauma in a way no psychiatrist has ever done. So I was interested in that, and then I didn't realise at the time that I was good at science because it was taught in such a mechanical way. I was just not interested in it, And what I was more interested in, as I was doing medicine, was reading a lot.
Yeah.
And, I got through medicine fine. This caused me to think, well, I would like to have a career in psychiatry. And when I came to psychiatry, it seemed to me that this was really the most important, in a way, an interesting area for one to be involved in, because these were people who could not be helped. So you had to find a way of helping them.
Yes.
And secondly, their experiences was a kind of universe that was somehow or other, I felt I knew a bit about it. I must have felt that. But on the other hand, it was a very strange universe that I wanted to understand more about. So that's, I think, how it emerged, because I did my first term in psychiatry in Melbourne, and I made clear to my consultant I was not interested in Freud. It didn't say anything to me. It seemed foreign, it didn't seem to connect with. And I wanted, on the other hand, to be working with people in a way which was to do psychologically, not just giving electric shocks or whatever. I was lucky I had a consultant who said, well, if you can, you should get to the Maudsley and you should train a man called Bob Hobson, because he's doing something different. And he'd set up a ward at the Bethlem Royal Hospital for people who had illnesses which other people couldn't fix. But basically they were people who'd been traumatised. And at that stage there was no means of treating these people. And in particular, they were said to be unanalysable. That is, you couldn't use psychoanalytic approaches to this. So we decided together to work out what was needed, and we both were thinking in the same way, and there was something in a way that we kind of knew, but we didn't know at the same time, that we had to work at knowing this thing which was somehow embedded in us. And that's taken me the last 40 odd years to try and understand.
I mean, I'd be very interested in seeing how you've moved to where you are with your heritage of your father. And
yes, this book he did, of Door of Serenity, was a very important landmark, if you like, in the way in which I was developing my ideas of what I wanted to do in life. It came out when I was a medical student. This woman who was traumatised, badly sexually abused, was severely ill, hallucinating, mute, intractable. She was treated by all those horrible methods they used to do in the past and was considered a hopeless case. They didn't realise in those days that trauma was pathogenic, that she was just thought to be suffering schizophrenia. And basically the way in which the thing worked in terms of the recovery was that she brought him pictures, and they simply conversed about those pictures, which were pictures of her reality. And as they spoke, they kind of enlarged this reality. That what he believed was that the necessary element was the therapist's understanding of the other person's state of mind. The next thing is he went into introducing meditation into medical treatment. I've been working within the sort of scientific community as well as the therapeutic community to try and bring the two together.
Yeah.
And what we've been able to show is the people who've been damaged with cumulative trauma, they have a deficit in right hemispheric function. Left hemisphere, you know, the way of coping with the world, of formulating propositions, that's fine. It's the right hemisphere that's the deficit.
Yeah.
So the right hemisphere is to do with music, with shaping, you know, like picturing, and the kind of work to do with meditation also fits in, I think, with a right hemisphere kind of facilitation.
From the perspective of growing up as a child, meditation, I mean, was that in your reality? So were you...
No. My father had another career before he did medicine. He was actually quite old when he was doing psychiatry. It wasn't part of the household thing. It wasn't what was going on in what we would talk about. In fact, he would talk more about asking me to explain what I was meaning in my... And I wrote a preliminary book in 1977 which contains most of the ideas. Those were more like the conversations we would have, him trying to sense what I was about. And his change to meditation was really when I was in England. We shared a great friendship with a man called Herbert Bauer, who was a pioneer in a number of ways in Australian psychiatry. He said that my father went on this trip to Nepal, and he came back and he told Herbert, he said, "Herbert, my life's changed." This was, you know, encountering a person who was helping him to enter into this world of meditation. You were talking before about what you're hoping to do and what you are doing with people with trauma. I hope it becomes a model for people in the health systems that are government run, because they need to have the models that you're developing. And what you were talking about was, you know, putting forward therapies like music therapy, like art therapy. Essentially, these are fostering right hemisphere function. If I were able, you know, I would have a whole kind of program going which would involve music therapy, art therapy, other forms of therapy and meditation, which would all build together into this one thing.